me take you somewhere, and there's something new. Why English is spoken so good. It's Diction Avenue, Diction Avenue. This is a word where English language is taught, the official language that everyone needs to learn. Set the right pronunciation and use the right intonation. So express yourself. It's Diction Avenue, Diction Avenue.
Okay, welcome to the world with vision. They say a nation get perished without the vision. In Diction Avenue, we got a mission, vision to build tomorrow's future. Speak with good English, this is our culture. We got qualified teachers, good facilities to build confidence in our students. Don't be told, come witness the treasure you can't measure. Welcome to the world.
And there's something new. Why English is spoken so good. It's Diction Avenue, Diction Avenue.
Good afternoon and welcome to today's edition of Diction Avenue. If this is the first time you're watching the show, Diction Avenue is that show on television. It's an educational show where you learn how to speak right, and sound English. My name is Abigail Anaba and I am the usual host on the show. Today on the show we are going to continue a conversation we started last week. Last week we talked about tenses and we looked at the present tense, looking at one aspect of the present tense, which is the simple present tense. Today we are going to be looking at the present continuous tense. But before we do that, we will do something which we usually do on the show, which is present that part of the show where you can be part of the show, simply by texting the correct answer to a question. Of course, later on the show, we'll be taking stories that teach, and we'll also be taking Ask Anything English. So if you have English language-based questions, now is the time to send in your questions. Meanwhile, we are going to start off by taking our question of the day. And as usual, our question of the day has something to do with our topic of the day. As I said at the beginning of the show, we are going to be talking about the present continuous tense. So our question of the day says, which of these two sentences is in the present continuous tense? Which of these two sentences is in the present continuous tense? So we have two sentences, A and B. Is it the boy is going to walk away? Is that in the present continuous tense? Or is it the boy is walking away? What do you think? Well, your answer, of course, with your name and where you're texting us from, should go to the number 0805 584 9525. I'm sure we're going to have that number on our screen in a very short while. 0805 584 9525 is the number to text. And do not forget to include your name and where you are texting us from. Correct answers. I'm sure you already know what the correct answer to that question is, so please go ahead and text to that number. Well, as I said before, at the beginning of the show, we are going to be taking the present continuous tense. That's the topic that we're treating today, having started discussing tenses last week. So the first question we'd want to answer is, what are tenses? Just in case you missed the lesson last week, we'll just do a short recap. Tenses tell us what time an action takes place. The time that an action is taking place, that is what the tense tells us. And so tenses work with verbs. You know that verbs are action words, they are doing words. So tenses usually work with verbs all the time, not just usually. All the time, tenses work with verbs. So when we're talking about tenses, we're talking about two aspects, and that is time and aspect. Those are the two things we're looking at when we discuss tenses. We're talking about time and aspect. Time, when that thing, when the action we're discussing took place, and aspect, the duration that the action took place. So usually there are 3 times, talking about when the action took place, there are 3 times that we look at when it comes to tenses, and that is the present, the past, and the future. So when using verbs, the tense changes depending on whether you're discussing the present tense, the past tense, or the future tense. But for each of these times, there are 4 aspects. And the 4 aspects are simple, continuous, perfect, and perfect continuous. So in all, we have 12 tenses. Each aspect for each of the 4 times. So 4 by 3 gives you 12. So there are 12 different tenses. Last week we took the simple present tense, where we talked about how to use the root word either in the root verb either in the singular or in the plural when discussing the simple present tense. But today we're going to be talking about the present continuous tense. How do we use the present continuous tense? The present continuous tense can be used for actions happening now, which means that that action is taking place as we speak. So you use the present continuous tense. It's not just happening now, but it's continuing as we're speaking. So that is why the word continuous occurs when you talk about present continuous. It's an action happening now and continuing as we speak. We also use them for temporary activities. We also use the present continuous tense when we're talking about changes that are taking place. So one thing you would note about the present continuous tense is that it is going on as the person is speaking. So the present continuous tense, to form the present continuous tense, the verb is usually helped by a smaller word, which we'll refer to as a helping verb or an auxiliary verb. So the helping verb or the auxiliary verb helps in telling us that this is a present continuous tense. Also, the verb comes in the plus ing format. Well, all of this might seem like, oh, what's all this explanation? So I've broken it down into just one slide, and you'll see that slide coming up next. The helping verb plus the root verb plus ing. That's how you form the present continuous tense. It's the helping verb plus root verb plus ing. That's just the formula. So the helping verb or the auxiliary verb we're talking about is, are, was, or were. That's a small verb that usually works with the present continuous. And then you have the verb, the root verb, plus ing. So if the verb was work, it becomes working. If it's walk, it becomes walking. If it's play, it becomes playing, plus the auxiliary verb is. So we have is playing, is talking, is writing, is singing. All of these are examples of the present continuous. So the person is carrying on that activity as we speak, and he's continuing. For instance, I am eating. That is an example of a sentence in the present continuous tense. Well, I am not eating right now, am I? But that's a good sentence. I am talking. That's a better sentence. I am talking. That is another example of a sentence in the present continuous tense. So if you ask the question, what is she doing? I said, what is she doing or he doing right now at this present moment? The response will come with the auxiliary verb plus the ing form. Now let's look at some sentence examples for the present continuous tense. The very first example we have there is, he is singing a song. He is singing a song. You can see in that sentence, is singing, is auxiliary verb, singing, the root verb is sing, plus ing, so it becomes singing. He is singing a song. The impression you get is that that action is happening now. You do not think that the person was singing. That means that the action took place in the past. You do not think that the person is going to sing, which means that it's going to happen in the future. You know that the person is singing right at this moment as we speak. He is singing. Another sentence we have there is Betty is becoming annoying. That means that before now, Betty was not annoying, but there's a change taking place as we watch. You can think of it as a butterfly metamorphosing. 1 minute it's a caterpillar, and then as we watch, it develops wings and begins to fly away. So the change is taking place as we watch. Betty is becoming annoying. I hope Betty is not becoming annoying, but that's a good sentence of a change taking place just as we watch. And then we have sentence number 3, which is our last example for present continuous tense. And the sentence goes, you are asking the wrong questions. You are asking the wrong questions. Again, are is an auxiliary verb. Asking, the root verb is ask plus ing, it becomes asking. So you are asking the wrong questions. Right at this moment, we're talking about an activity that is happening now. He's asking questions, but they are the wrong questions. So I hope that with this, you're able to better understand the present continuous tense. We use, as I mentioned before, the present continuous tense to talk about activities that are happening now, to talk about change that is taking place, but it must refer to that moment as we speak, and it is continuing. That is the difference between the simple present tense and the present continuous tense. The difference is that one is taking place, but it's not continuing. That's a simple present. It's taking place now, but it's not continuing as we speak. But for the present continuous tense, it's happening now and it's continuing as we speak. So, do you want to improve your English speaking skills? Well, the Institute of Certified Communicators, ECOM, offers a 12-week Speak with Confidence course. This is a completely online course. And if you want details of how you can be part of the Speak with Confidence completely online course, all you have to do, send a WhatsApp message to the number 0805-584-9525 or the number 0806-128-2222. Either of these numbers and you'll get all the details you need to be part of the Speak with Confidence course. Well, like I said at the beginning of the show, we have different aspects to the show. I asked the question at the beginning, do you have a correct answer? Have you been sending in your answers? Let me take a look at the phone lines. Oh, interested. We have a couple of answers that have come in already. But if you're just joining the show, you still have an opportunity to answer our question of the day. I'm sure that question will be coming up in just a bit, and our question of the day has to do with the topic we discussed, which is the present continuous tense. And the question for today is, which of these two sentences is in the present continuous tense? Which of the two sentences is in the present continuous tense? Is it A, the boy is going to walk away, or B, the boy is walking away? Well, if you paid attention to the lesson, I'm sure that you will have the correct answer to that question. So please do send in your answer to the number 0805-584-9525. Again, the number is 0805-584-9525. Do not forget to include your name and where you are texting us from. We are going to take a break now for Stories That Teach. And then when we come back, we'll take your questions and ask anything English. Don't go away.
The price of disobedience. Mother Bear hurried to the store to get some supplies with a purple scarf on over her head and an umbrella in her hand. Goodbye, Harry. I won't be gone for long. Remember to keep the doors locked on the inside and never open to anyone. Okay, Mom. I promise to stay inside and not let anyone in. Harry the bear listened to his mother and stayed inside. He decided to sit by the window and wait for his mom. At least that should keep me busy till mother gets back, he thought to himself. Just then, Henry the wolf came by. Everyone knew him to be naughty and greedy. He saw Harry sitting by the window and called out to him, "Hello, Harry. How are you doing? Would you like to come out and play?" "No, thank you. Mom said not to go outside and not to let anyone in," Harry replied. "But I'm not just anyone. I'm your friend, and I'm sure your mommy wouldn't mind that. Besides, you look unhappy sitting there all by yourself. I could keep you company till she gets back." Harry thought for a moment. Maybe Henry's right. It's rather lonely in here. Perhaps I could let Henry in, play for a while, and let him out before Mom gets back. So Harry lets him in. But as soon as Henry got inside, he rushed into the kitchen and began to eat the porridge Mother Bear had prepared for dinner. Before Harry could say a word, he had eaten up the whole pot of freshly cooked porridge. Harry was sad. He wished he had listened to his mother's instructions, but it was too late. Just then, he heard his mother's voice. "Harry, I'm home, and I got you something special from the store for being a good boy." The end.
Well, that was a steep price to pay for disobedience, wasn't it? Harry would certainly wish that he had listened to his mother and not let in someone that would ruin everything. Imagine how sad or upset his mother would feel having bought him something from the store only to discover that he has been a disobedient child. So always listen to your parents, always do what you're asked, and do not allow other people to make you do things that you will later regret. Those are some of the lessons that we took from Stories That Teach today. But we're going to be moving on, and we are going to be looking at Ask Anything English. This is an aspect of the show where we answer viewer questions. And in the past week, we have received several questions from different individuals, and we're going to attempt to answer a few of them. Remember that if you have questions for Ask Anything English, to send us either tweet at ICCOMNG, that's ICCOMNG on Twitter, or you can send us a message on Facebook. Our Facebook page is Institute of Certified Communicators, or you can send a WhatsApp message to 0805-584-9525 to ask your English language based questions. So we're going to move right on to Ask Anything English now, and the first question we have is coming from Ishak from Kaduna. And Ishak from Kaduna says, "Please, how do we distinguish between the OO sound in the two words?" And he gave two word examples. The two words he gave were broom and spoon. Well, Ishak, I kind of understand the question that you intended to ask, because the word examples that you gave, broom and spoon, are actually have the same vowel sound. So there is no differentiation between broom and spoon. They both have the same vowel sound, which is oo sound. But there are instances where the letters OO gives you another sound entirely. And we have that example in words that end OOD and words that end OOK. In those instances, the OO usually has the sound O. So we have words like cook, look, took, hood. And for those word examples, the OO has a different sound from what it has in words like spoon, fool, tool, and other examples like that. So there's a difference between the OO in spoon and the OO in hood or in cook. And the difference is that one has the oo sound and the other has the o sound. So I hope that answers your question, Ishak. The second question we're looking at is from Chukwuemeka Amanda Favor from Anambra State. And her question is, what is the difference between consonant clusters and consonant digraph? Amanda, the difference is that consonant clusters are a group of consonants with no intervening vowel. And so you have example like CL, THS, XTS in the word texts, or XTHS in the word sixths, TS in the word clothes, for instance. Those are clusters. But a digraph refers, when you talk about digraph, we're referring to two consonants coming together to give you one sound. So in the case of clusters, they do not produce one sound. They still give us their independent sounds, but when we're saying those independent sounds, we do not include an interrupting vowel. But in the case of digraphs, it's always two letters that come together to give you one sound. Now we have word examples there: CH in church, TH in thirsty, CC in a word like concession, and then SS in a word like commission. Those are examples of consonant digraphs. They are two letters that come together to give you one sound. For instance, CH gives you the sound ch. TH can give you the sound th or v. CC often gives you the sound s. And then SS will give you the sound sh. So the difference between clusters and digraphs, you can have more than two letters in a cluster. You can have up to 4 consonants standing side by side in a cluster, but when we talk about digraphs, it's just 2 letters, and those 2 letters must come together to produce one sound. So that's the difference between digraphs and clusters. Question from Amanda. And that's just about all the time we have on Diction Avenue today. But just before we go, we are going to be looking at the answer to our question of the day. Remember, at the beginning of the show, we asked the question, which of these 2 sentences is in the present continuous tense? This is Eniton from Odungunyo. With a correct answer, the answer is B. The boy is walking away. That's the sentence in the present continuous tense. We have lots of correct answers today. We got one from Ayomide. We have Toyin Ibukun. We have Omowumi Oyebode from Abeson Estate. All with correct answers. This is Toby Praise with a correct answer as well. All those are correct answers to the question. Of course, we have some incorrect answers. So those of you who sent in A as the answer, no, that's wrong. The correct answer is B, is walking away. And that's about all the time we have for Diction Avenue today. Don't forget, next week is another day to keep with us as we continue to learn how to speak right, and sound English. My name is Abigail Anaba, and I'll see you next week.
Something new. Why English is welcome so good. It's Diction Avenue, Diction Avenue. This is a word where English language is taught, the official language that everyone needs to learn. Set the right pronunciation and use the right intonation.